All right, guys. So we are going to get into an urgent message because as I knocked over a deck, this is the card that, like, everything else went everywhere, but this one was like in plain sight and face up and right side up and the whole 9 yards. And it's the tower. So it's like the tower is looming, and it even seems that way from this position. So I'm gonna use this deck, if you want to call it that. This is a really easy one to knock over. It's really hard because it doesn't sit upright. So when I went to put a deck back, it just kind of like knocked the whole mess over because, as you can tell, it's not a standard size. So it's not like I never knock this over. I do this probably once a week. But because I was just about to go ahead and start a story, I was like, okay, well, let's. I mean, this obviously wants to come out and wants to come out now. So let's go ahead and say this might be more urgent since it presented itself so heavily. If the tower is looming and it's about to fall, we have the Hermit in the reverse. So this would be conversation is about to just like land. Now, this could be a Virgo or an Aries. By the way, we did do a bonus message for both. Well, a continuation of part one for Virgo. We did a part two on tonight, but then Aries just got a bonus, and so did Scorpio, so did Leo, so did Libra. You guys, thank you so much. So good to hang with you some more. Cosmo Guy, London 72, Bridget, and Queenie B, Brian, Louise, The Cataclysmic Awakening, Candace Jackson, Marikai Healing Arts Ohio, Evanice Ferreira, and D Reglove. Thank you so much, you guys. Wendy E, hi babe. Oh, it was my pleasure, Queenie B. So I'm sorry I didn't have time to do bonuses for every zodiac. We have got the moon. We got the Hierophant here. So hang on. Something that's been hidden is going to suddenly be talked about, and it's going to change things. Now, this could be someone, and I mean, obviously, since we're rocking four major arcana here, we could have an Aries, we could have a Virgo, we could have a Pisces, or we could have a Taurus. But this is no small thing. This is an announcement is coming in, something that has been kept hidden, and now it's going to be like, here it is. This is what I need to say. Can I get one more card on this so I can understand what this is? King of Cups. It's an emotional offer. It's somebody's in love. Who are you in love with? This feels like the wrong deck. Nothing's popped out anyway. Let me go this deck. By the way, this is the area that I was knocking things over from. So I don't know why I want to go for like the most difficult area for me to reach. We have Five of Swords. They're in love with somebody that they fought with. This could be a same-sex couple, as is true with any of my stories. But right now, it's like this is somebody I had an argument with. And Eight of Wands, I want to talk to this person, and there's the Tower again. Holy smokes! And there's a lot to talk about. These two, like, maybe reached a crescendo in dialogue already. They kept trying and things didn't get better. They got worse until the whole thing has been lit on fire. You know, it's like every room in the place is now on fire. They want to talk to somebody that they already burned a bridge with, somebody that a conversation already occurred and it occurred badly. And in fact, it's almost hints that they got pissed off at the very person that they want to talk to. While they were talking to this person already, they already caused a tower, and now they want to come in again, but this time they want to say, I love you. Like, I don't know if that's the way they want to say it. I love you. Sorry, I'm coughing and shaking everything with my thunderous cough. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Evanice Ferreira, please forgive me for messing up your name, but thank you so, so much. You are so generous. Thank you for that. Okay, Page of Coins, Judgment, and Lovers. I mean, this is very, very, I mean, there's no room for interpretation here, right? They do want to say, I love you. And I don't know if they think that they can even get this back on track because the last conversation went badly. You know, earlier today, this morning, in fact, I did my first video of the day I did here. And it was like a story about two people who had like, they were going to talk after a long period of time. I'm not saying this is connected to that exactly. This is much more straightforward, but this is definitely two people who had some dialogue before and it went freaking awful. And now they want to do it again, but this time they want to just step around all the other things that were problems and just get to the part where I need to tell you that I love you. I need to tell you that I wanted to get back together with you. Now, I'm not trying to poke a hole in their party balloon, but if these two had such a crap dialogue before to where it became an argument, are these two good at being lovers, or what was the argument? What was the basis for the argument before? The Chariot. I don't know if somebody is a pilot, but we have the Chariot. So it was about moving things forward. Maybe it was a dialogue or a conversation that should have moved something forward. Temperance, but the Devil. It was an area that was scary to talk about. It was an area that, look, I don't know if this person, like, I'm picturing somebody who likes to take off from any conversation that they're uncomfortable with. Like, the way, like a helicopter, helicopters go straight up, planes take off. Helicopters just go straight up, right? Don't ever be a bridesmaid in your bridesmaid's dress outside in the parking lot when the helicopter takes off with your friend in it. And there's all kinds of fresh bark in the planter box that you're standing in, and you think that's a good place to stand, because it isn't, because helicopters push air down as they go straight up, and that bark goes in your dress. Talking about a friend. This kind of, I don't know, I just have this energy of somebody taking off, and I guess the reason it reminds me of that is because when 50 wedding guests all scream in unison because a helicopter takes off and the bark goes in your teeth and in your belly button and in your dress and up your dress and down your dress, and everybody's shrieking. It's a big deal when a helicopter takes off, and it causes a big ruckus when you don't expect it. And I feel like that's what they do in a conversation. If they don't like something, they run from it, and they go from 0 to 100. They go from, we're having a dialogue, to, I'm freaking out here. I'm freaking out. And now I act pissed and I burn the whole conversation down, when what the conversation was a chance to get some things hashed out and to really move forward and really find peace. And instead they freaked out. What was the agenda? What was this trying to make peace kind of energy? Right now, I'm going to say this looks like a masculine who was talking to a feminine. She may have been pushing for a dialogue that could have brought about peace. Two of Cups sideways, trying to find peace and trying to establish, like, is there a bond here? I mean, I don't know if she was basically saying, do you love me now that I can dance? Watch me now. Hey, work, work. I love that song so much. Wasn't that in Dirty Dancing? It's a 1950s track. I can't think who sings it. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that silly, but I'm not sure if she was trying to say, do you love me? Can we get on the same page with how we feel about each other? Can we really talk with no barriers between us? Look at how close these two stand. They're pressed up against each other, making prolonged eye contact. If she was trying to get close to them in a dialogue and be like, share with me the things that we both need to be able to share with each other, and they freaked out because it was touching on things that were emotional for them, they, like I said, just because of that pilot, and then it makes me think of, like I said, that, them escaping all of a sudden, going from 0 to 100, taking off, and ending a conversation in kind of a not nice way. And it feels like that's what they did. They escaped a conversation that they were not comfortable with because the conversation was very intimate. It was very much like the feminine, I think, in trying to make balance and trying to get closer together by talking about things that really meant something, that it hit too close to the emotions and they ran. Now, let me ask this. You want to tell her that you love her. You can say you love somebody and still try to keep distance, though. There's the lip service, and then there's the actual, I'll let you get to know me. I feel like this person has a problem with, I'll let you genuinely get to know me. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, is your behavior going to be any different? You're going to reach out to her. Your ego's dropping. You're going to reach out to her and you're going to tell her the thing that she doesn't know. This is the second time now we've seen that King of Cups, right? You're going to break your silence and you're going to say, after you already had a conversation with her, that you blew this thing up and burned down the house and got pissed and ended when it should have been a gentle conversation and a nice conversation. But you're going to come back in and you're going to try again. But this time you want to say on your terms what you want to say, right? So maybe it's not even just, I mean, yes, it is, I love you, because we already saw that with the lovers, but we got to know the rest of this. This Knight of Swords, you notice how they are like a chess player. So they may think slowly about things. Maybe that's why they have to do this on their terms. It may not be like a power play, and it might not be that they're erratic, and it might not be that they're trying to be rude. It might be, don't disrupt me when I'm in the middle of my thought. Like, I don't play chess, okay? So I don't even know how chess is played. And I know smart people are supposed to play chess. I ain't that smart. Maybe I would like it if somebody taught me, but nobody ever taught me how. And I just, I kind of like being outdoors more than sitting. But I know it is a thinking person's game, so forgive me that I'm not smart enough to know how to play it. But this story, I will completely, like, with as limited information as I know about it, I know it's a game of strategy. I know that, they sit and they think about it. I know world-class chess players can think way faster and can see all the potential moves and all the potential strategies. But I also know that it's because it's a bunch going on up here. And so if they process anything and everything that they're going to say before they make their move, and then when they make their move, they're confident. When you make your move in chess, that's it. You don't get to be like, oh, no, I think I take that back. Like, when you make it, that's it. You just planted your piece, and there's no more option. Now it's the next person's move. But it almost feels like maybe what freaks them out is if they don't have enough time when it's their turn to make their move, they stress out. And it's almost like, anybody, like right now, if somebody was standing behind me going, Kate, when are you almost done with this video? You said you talk to me when you're done with this video. At some point I would be like, I'm not done with the video, so please wait. I told you I'd talk to you when I'm done. Give me another 15 minutes. You have to wait. Don't stand there and tap at me for 15 minutes. I already said I'll talk to you in 15. That anybody would get annoyed, right? Maybe, not rightly so. I don't know. Maybe that makes me sound like a jerk, but I would wonder, like, why are you tapping my shoulder, interrupting when I promised I'd talk to you in 15? Now, I'm not saying that's exactly the scenario here. It's not like her trying to, like, communicate like a human and create some kind of balance and be able to, come close to a person that you have a bond with, and in all gentleness, try to just be close to them or try to talk about things that matter. She should have every right to be able to express things that matter to her and to ask questions that matter to her. But it does seem like he possibly got really impatient because his brain works at a different pace, in a different way. He has to weigh and measure every thought. This doesn't mean he's a manipulator or a game player. It just means speed could be his nemesis. And if he got freaked out and then was just like, I can't talk about this, I can't be, maybe he thinks of everything as like high pressure if it's not giving him time to process. Everybody processes different. Everybody processes things and emotions differently. Especially, maybe he's like, we've seen him twice as a King of Cups. He could have a ton of emotions. Maybe this is a masculine empath who hasn't learned how to put up like some kind of guards or boundaries around himself. And so when he starts to feel the feels and things start to get emotional, it's like, I have to get outside, away from everybody. Maybe that's why I get this vibe of him fleeing. It's because I have to have more time to think, and I have to shut down the dialogue. So I have to run. I'm just laying this out because we don't really have ugly cards other than the Devil and the Five of Swords. Those are admittedly ugly cards, but we don't see somebody who's trying to manipulate. We don't see somebody who's trying to hurt another person. In fact, quite the contrary. They botched this. They blew this up. They didn't handle it right. They got all pissy, but then they're trying to come back because they love this person. And in this story, as hard as it is for me to try to describe this without going on and on and on, I think that I don't think we can call this person like some manipulative villain. They did not handle things right, but that might have been because of the limitations of who they are. We all have limitations. So I don't know. Right now it really feels more like an empath with no guardrails around him, so he doesn't know how to handle it, and then he just kind of like freaks if things are getting too close and he's not ready to communicate yet. So let's get to the dialogue, right? So he wants to reach out, is reaching out to the very person that he already burned this down with. This is done. This is over. This is, like I didn't handle this right at all. So what is it that you want to say? King of Cups twice. What are you laying out here? All the burdens. Okay, so he may have a lot. Remember, we had the moon there too, and he wants to say things that have previously been hidden. He wants to talk about it on his terms. 10 of Wands, he wants to unburden himself. I feel like he wants to tell something about his life. King of Wands in the reverse, 8 of Pentacles in the reverse. He may want to talk about something he's never finished processing, something he hasn't, like painted mandalas and worked through mentally so that he could clear some kind of burdens. He hasn't gotten over something in his life. It may have something to do with a King of Wands in the reverse. That could have been a very arrogant, tyrannical person. 10 of Cups in the reverse. This could have been a terrible previous relationship. It could have been a parental figure. There was no peace, no happiness in the home, not a happy childhood at all. You see kids here, and it could be like, I had a horrible childhood. I never processed that. I'm still not over it. There's still stuff that triggers me. Look, a King of Wands can be bad news. King of Wands in the reverse, whew. Just like an Emperor in the reverse. Tyrannical, selfish, belittling. They don't feel good enough in themselves, so they put other people down. It's a constant, nitpick to make you feel less than them. That's the only way they can feel bigger than you. It's very ego-driven. Imagine how hard that would be to have someone, especially if it was like a parental figure. So that's who you're raised under. That could be a lifetime of things to kind of like try to, heal from. And that would also maybe explain, maybe some of the rattled nerves or the tendency to flee. It's like fight or flight comes into play. And it's like, I flee when I'm not ready to talk, because that's what I got used to. Somebody, even if I'm not saying she was needling him, because she wasn't, we saw her with the Temperance card and that beautiful 2 of Cups, but he may think of anything as like needling, and then he runs because that's what he learned as a self-defense mechanism. You run from the person who's just going to tear you to ribbons, won't let up, keeps coming at you. That could be his trigger, and that could be something that he wants to say. He's trying to come clean. He's not trying to say, and then you did that to me. Not at all. He's trying to lay down like a burden that he maybe knows he has in the way, this could even be like, how we all have ways that we do or don't want to be spoken to. We all have, and we call it our boundaries, right? And it's like, on one hand, you don't get to bend the world to your will. Okay. There's social expectations where we're all going to have to respect each other, but not to an extent where it's like, okay, you have to do backflips for me because I want this from you. And now the world has to rearrange itself around my wants. That we're not talking about that extreme. We're talking about, though, we all have our triggers, we all have our scars, we all have our wounds. And, you can function in society, but at a one-on-one relationship level, that's where you got to be able to tell your partner, like, whether it's right or wrong, this is kind of my past, and this is why certain things bug me, abandonment issues. Like, I don't want a partner to have an argument and then they disappear on me because that feels like abandonment. Instead, if we're going to have an argument, can we please say, look, I'm going to go cool off. I'll be back in an hour. I'm not leaving. There may be, everybody has those things where you need the guardrails, you need the safety net. And if he's never told her any of his triggers and where his safety net needs to be for his peace of mind, then I could see how she wouldn't have a clue. And no matter how gentle and how like sensitive she was intending to be, doesn't matter. He has his triggers. Now, admittedly, does he need to go and heal those things so that a normal, kind, intentioned interaction of closeness and wanting to know somebody doesn't become the thing he blows up at her and then takes off? I would argue yes. But if these two have such love for each other, understanding it is a first step, then seeing how they work through it together and seeing, what work is he willing to put in on his own might be really important. This just says talking about it is a first step, and that's something he hasn't done. Now, frankly, I feel like, does she want to have this conversation? Because if she was like, I was trying to be gentle, I was trying to create peace, I didn't say or do anything to be unkind, and he blew up at me and disappeared. She may be like, dude, that's my trigger. I don't want to be treated like that. We all have our things where it's not going to work for us. And maybe these two aren't going to be good together. Right now, we have the Judgment in the reverse, and she says, I don't want to. So hang on. Him blowing up, how'd that impact you? Four of Pentacles, Ace of Cups. I promised myself I would never reach out again. I withdrew into my shell and sat and meditated for a while, and I decided I love myself enough not to try again, to try to be gentle and kind to somebody who I'm only going to get bit when I try. If you keep reaching for something and it keeps scratching and biting you, you stop reaching for it at some point, right? I can see why she's now he hurt her. That's what it says. She withdrew into her shell and then said, no, I can't go into a shell. I just need to love myself enough not to put myself through this anymore. So I don't want this anymore. There's a lot that these two are going to need to talk about if they can even talk through this. Like I said, there's so much here. And he might just be saying, I know you probably don't want anything to do with me because of the way I bark and run away. But for what it's worth, I do love you. Even if you don't want to be with me, I can't let you think I didn't love you. It's time I tell you the way I behave, the why I behaved that way, why I got triggered. There's a lot to say for somebody owning, this is what hurt me. This is my thing. This is why I reacted. And that explanation, even if it's not like these two are going to get back together, maybe that explanation of a conversation is so important, Five of Swords. That, yes, if this storyline, because I think it would do them a world of good to not have the war between them, the fighting, with that Five of Swords, it's like, I don't want anybody that does this to me. This is her speaking. I've just decided I can't be around somebody who I never know when they're just going to bite my head off and leave. Or maybe this is a persistent thing where it's it's always been that way and I'm done with it. So I got to change and not be around it anymore. Hang on. Feminine, are you going to be at all open to them and what they have to say? Yes, with the 10 of Cups. In fact, this is probably the most necessary and important and loving conversation these two could ever have. A vulnerability, actually talking, actually being able to hear it. It still doesn't mean that because these two care about each other and can, maybe come to some kind of understanding that now, yay, they'll be so great together. It could be a 10 of Cups says both people are giving an awful lot, because we went from her saying, I don't want this anymore. I chalked it up to this is over. I won't fight with somebody. I won't do it. That's the thing I don't want, is to fight. But will I listen to what they have to say? If they have something they want to tell me, of course, I will receive. My cup is up, but I won't try to talk to them. And it might be, and I won't try to be in a relationship with them. If they want to explain things to me, yes, but it's definitely my turn to receive something from them. I feel like that's very much the energy of the feminine right now. The only thing I think that would work is if they have exactly what they're doing. They come in twice as the King of Cups wanting to offer. She is in a place where she's willing to receive, but she will not give. We see her sitting back here saying, I've retreated into myself. I will not pursue. I will not give. I don't have anything even to say. But if they want to tell me something about why they behaved the way they did, of course I'll listen. We have the sun. This looks like it would make her very, very happy to hear from them, to hear like some kind of explanation that actually puts pieces together about, understanding why people do things is sometimes more important than what they do. It's a way to like get to know somebody a bit and understand a little bit better where they're coming from. But we still see the Eight of Cups. It does make her kind of question. She's got a little bit of a, look on her face where it's like, I mean, she may just say this is like a great conversation. It feels like 1,000 pounds of pressure have been lifted off of me. It's wonderful. I'm thrilled that you talked to me and you told me some things that are really real. It may make her think twice about what she had said previously, which is, I wouldn't want to get back with this person at all. We had the Judgment in the reverse. Like, that's the last time they're biting at me and snapping at me. I'm not putting up with that anymore. I can't do that. I retreat. This could make her second guess that and think about that a little bit. I don't mean this is a hard story because, yeah, it's hard for our character too. The Page of Swords sideways. There's like all of this to think about. There's too many unknowns here. Okay, because this story could go in a lot of different directions. So say she says, maybe I'm not going to say I'm walking away and we'll never speak to them again and it's over because I don't want to be bit at anymore. No matter if I loved them, I can't deal with somebody who behaves that way. Okay, now we've talked. I understand you move a lot slower. You think a lot slower. You have some things that you haven't processed through. You're sharing that with me. Okay. Now, does that mean that together we adapt to each other and we maybe ease our way into a friendship where we see if we can find a comfort zone together? Possible, but I don't know. It's an unknown. Or is this like, thank you, this really cleared the air between us. We love each other, but it's not going to happen. It all depends on, basically what kind of effort would be put in to make sure that this doesn't become a repeat pattern, right? And in all honesty, like we all are gentle with each other in this world, ideally. None of us are perfect. We all have our things. There's a lot of love here, but I don't think she's going to be any fool about it. I kind of think there is enough here where for a Queen of Cups and a King of Cups who looked like they were a Two of Cups to maybe at least try now that come on, we had the towers falling all over the place in this. Maybe for two people to actually try to like knowing that they're both very emotional and as all human beings, but knowing more about the flow of the emotions and the way they handle emotions, maybe this could work out really great. It could make both of them, possibly. There's a great song by the Traveling Wilburys called "Handle Me with Care," and that's a song in my head right now. Oh God, I can't say it without singing it, but in any case, handle me with care. I'm so tired of being lonely. I still have some love to give. Why don't you tell me that you really care? It's a nice song. Let me just ask, is our masculine like making a sincere effort? Is he trying really to make a sincere effort? We have the Justice card. I was going to say, or is he warning, like, I'm probably always going to do this. I don't see me changing. I don't know. This is him saying, I didn't treat you right. I shouldn't have bitten. That was unfair. That was unjust on my part. So there's an acknowledgement. We have High Priestess sideways. He knows and she knows that this isn't going to fly. Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. There's also the awareness that she's edgy. She doesn't want to put energy into something that's going to be a repeat. She's not going to put up with being treated unkindly. Nine of Cups. She wants to be happy, and he knows that too. So I guess what I would ask is, I guess, King of Cups, what do you want to do? Knight of Swords. He wants to really quickly get himself healed. He wants to really, really quickly get himself healed. And he doesn't think that's going to happen overnight with the Eight of Swords. You know, if meeting her has made you this introspective, though, you know, has had this much impact already, that you have paid more attention to your actions, reactions, have now actually even been able to like articulate them, have said it wasn't right that I treated you that way. Like all of this could be massive breakthroughs on this journey to, like, you know, admitting, you know, this is a piece of my life, and this is my reactivity, and this is something I actually want to heal. I mean, that might be a huge breakthrough in the first time he's done that, because it was certainly difficult for him to get to that point. So I'm wondering if there's a lot more, he has a lot more power in himself than what he maybe realizes. Let me just ask, do you want to get things to where the two of you can be happy together? Oh God, more than anything, with the King of Cups. Then, you know, and his cup is really, really big, and he keeps coming up as a King of Cups. I hope that these two just take it little sippies at a time, but at the same time, because it looks like there's some unconditional love here, but as long as there's not undue expectations, I don't know, these two could find a real emotional comfort with each other. It may have to be a little different expectations, though, right out of the gate. Um, it almost feels like these two just need to like walk together in silence for a while, you know, just be present and build some kind of like, I don't know, it feels like the two of them have so much emotion, and words aren't necessarily the most important part for like soothing and calming things. As like, go take a walk by the sea, spend days together, hours together, you know, being around each other, show each other caring. But I don't know that Q&A sessions are going to work for them anytime soon. That could develop as a comfort zone grows. And it's not like, okay, I have to walk on eggshells. In fact, there's no eggshells here. They already crossed those bridges and burned them the hell down. And this could be a real turning point. This could be two people that maybe, again, just that song, Handle Me With Care. Both of them deserve to be handled with care. And maybe both of them will be able to do that for each other. I mean, she certainly did not enjoy this at all. She doesn't want to be treated like that. And I'm glad she's not going to put up with it. If that's a repeat thing, she's out. And she definitely has the power to walk away. But this isn't something where it's like, fix yourself completely or I won't talk to you. That's not the way this storyline is. There's so many subtleties to this. And this isn't like, you know, they're going to be, you know, rude and unkind toward her anytime they darn good and feel like it. This is not like I don't tell stories about abusive characters. I only tell stories about characters that maybe have the human flaws and struggles that we all have, but there's never, here's where my guidelines are. If somebody intends to hurt another person, that to me, I won't tell stories about people like that, because hell to the no. But do we hurt each other because of our own scars and wounds without intention to harm each other? Of course we do that all the time. That's what humans do. That's why it's so important to be able to say, does our character have the presence of mind to say, I don't want to hurt my person. I love them. I want to work on myself so I don't hurt them. You know, I have these scars. I am a wounded thing, but I love them enough to try to work on my wounds. Those love stories make a lot more sense to me, because I kind of think, isn't that what we're all trying to do, is, you know, deal with our scars and hopefully not hurt the people that we love, even though it's we do sometimes. And then we say sorry and then we try to be better. We have Page of Swords and it is sideways. These two have a lot to learn about each other, but sometimes it'll be through observation and spending time together, maybe more than just words. Yes, they need to be able to talk, and there has to be a comfort zone where they can freely talk to each other. But there also has to be a certain amount of like, I really think these two have to spend time together. That's how this comes across. All right, I'm going to leave this one here because this whole thing became so much softer and so much more gentle and so much more like hopeful, perhaps. Although we still have the boundary. If something is toxic, this will not continue. But it doesn't look like it's intending to be toxic. In fact, this could be the greatest turning point ever in a story, because there is such a gentleness here, and there is such a, I would say, such a strong desire not to cause harm, but instead to maybe get to know each other better and give each other some gentleness and grace, because it does look like there's unconditional love. Maybe they can be terrific together. Maybe they'll just be good friends, but it kind of looks like there's real hope here. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this. Thank you so much. Science Gammy. We don't care if you misspell. You're so cute. We couldn't care less. My brother is one of the smartest guys in his age bracket from when we were young. Like, he's my little brother, so I picked on him and stuff because, I'm a big sister and he picks on me, and that's how it is. But even when he was 17, I knew he was super smart, and he's, very business oriented, just naturally intelligent. But the thing that he does not care about is spelling. And his argument has always been, he spells like a bear got a hold of his phone. He'll text me things, and because I know him, I can usually figure out what he means. But you wouldn't even think, like, what is this? Is it written in code? I'm like, no, that's just my brother's text. I can read it. But he says, it doesn't matter. Did you know what I said? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, then why do I need punctuation? And why do I need correct spelling? You know what I meant to say. So does it matter? Just move on. There's more important stuff. And so all I can say is that people that are very successful, people that are like excellent at business, have natural intellect, are very successful in life, they don't care about spelling. And so while there's still words I can't spell, but I can usually write something legible, whereas my brother, I'm not joking, he was like a bear. But I just feel like we put too much emphasis on like embarrassment about whether or not we spelled something correctly, and in my family, that's not the mark of whether or not you'll be successful. So all I can tell you is never worry about that here. You are more than welcome to spell things phonetically if you wish. We don't care. Yeah. Oh, I think a lot of really brilliant people are. They don't have time for the nonsense. They're like, I don't need to spell that right. You know what it said. Move on. The meat and the potatoes was in the message, not in the spelling. And it's such a great point. So anyway, Anisha Chatu, great to see you. Lane Change, thank you for being here. Wasn't that a great? I was so happy. That was the nicest Libra story. I just loved that Libra that we were telling a story about. It was just so nice. Victoria Edwards, wonderful to see you, babe. I love that, Wendy. Yeah, people who have loved each other can hold space for one another even if they aren't together. That is so well said. That's beautiful. Queenie B, thank you for hanging with me. Linda, hey, babe. Thank you for being here, honey. Patricia, Calm Seas. Wonderful to catch you, babe. Bradley, hi. D. Regvello, thank you, honey. RT, so nice to see you. I hear you. I hear you, RT. Calcy. Are you looking at my chunky jewelry? I don't know if I can carry it off or if I just don't care. And so, you know how it is sometimes, like, it's not so much about carrying something off, it's about like, you're gonna do it anyway. So people go, well, I guess it's all right, you know? I have a friend who has like such artistic, eclectic, and they do like amazing art on their faces as well. Like the makeup artistry is unbelievable. But it's like they can get away with doing, like sherbet colors and gluing on sparkles. And you know what? It totally works on them. And I'm like, nobody else could pull that off but you. But you just have, it's just you. And it's so right for you. And I think that's, when you're just like, oh, I'll throw this on. I like this. And then somehow you trick other people into thinking like, yeah, that totally works. But it kind of, like on my friend, it totally does. It's like whatever vibrant colors and unique things that they choose to do with their facial, makeup and stuff, it's unbelievable. And it always clicks. So sometimes I think it's just like, if it's your thing, then people just go, yeah, that's your thing. And it's just like, you just roll with it. Like that's sometimes what I think it is. Gabriela Ramondo, good to see you, babe. Amber Young, hi, honey. Thank you for being here again tonight. CDW and Glow, thank you again. You guys are so lovely. Hamida Bano, hi. Thank you again so much. Annette Summersby, Evanice Ferreira, thank you again, honey. SLH, Small TV, thank you. Bellum B, Libra Girl, Dwayne Anderson, thank you guys. Evolutionary Queen, thank you. Lots of love to you. All right, you guys, I'm going to bounce out of here. Candace Jackson, thank you. Nice to see you, honey. And Marikai, Healing Arts, Ohio, always a delight. All right, you guys, I'm going to bounce out of here and go back over to the other channel. I think we have just enough time to slide in one single storyline, and then at midnight, we'll post the today's topic for the 28th, and that'll be it for tonight. All right, you guys, lots of love. Bye for right now. Thank you again, everybody. I forget they moved the end button over in a new spot. Bye, Cosmo Guy in London.